What's going on, guys? Rob at 3STRONG here. If you notice, I have type 1 and type 2 up on the board. What does this mean? These are your muscle fiber types. Within our bodies, we obviously have muscles, but within that muscle belly, so if I take the biceps, there are different fiber types that actually serve different purposes. And we actually have different percentages depending on the muscle type, and each person has a different percentage of type 1 and type 2 fibers. We can't be 100% of one of these, even though some athletes would love that. But for the most part, let me describe what a type 1 dominant, we'll call it, type 1 dominant person looks like. Thinner, leaner. They are more of the marathon runner. Let's just use that example. And the type 1 fibers are more of the endurance fibers. They're a little bit slower, they're longer lasting, they utilize oxygen for their main fuel source, and that's why the endurance athletes predominantly have type 1 muscle fibers. Also, in terms of their strength capacity, it's a very low force. Since they're meant to last for long periods of time, they can't produce a lot of force because they need to be as efficient as possible and last as long as possible. On the other end of the spectrum, we have the type 2 muscle fibers. These type 2 muscle fibers are slightly bigger. This would be more of your power lifter, your sprinter. These are the muscles that produce a lot of force. These allow you to jump very high, lift a lot of weight, sprint very fast. And it allows us to do that because they're able to produce a lot of force. So not only a lot of force quickly, but just a lot of force in general. So power lifters who don't necessarily have to jump very high but lift extremely heavy weights, they need to produce as much force as possible, and they predominantly have type 2 muscle fibers. So does that mean that if you do endurance training that you're going to be skinny? No. Does that mean that if you do powerlifting that you're going to be thick and bulky? No. A lot of these, we use the elite athlete as the example. So they're already genetically gifted to be able to excel in those sports. They have what it takes. They genetically have more type 2 muscle fibers or type 1 muscle fibers. However, in terms of just training, the way that you want to function, it helps that if you want to get better at powerlifting, that you need to lift those heavy weights, you need to move quickly, you need to produce a lot of force, and then if you want to work on your type 1 muscle fibers or be better at endurance type sports, that your training revolves around that. One of the interesting things is that let's look at bodybuilders. So bodybuilders are big, bulky, thick. They have incredible muscle mass. Guess what they have? No. They actually have hypertrophy, which is muscle bulk, in both of these muscle fibers. So it's not that you can only get muscle mass through type 2 muscle fibers. It's actually the development of both. And actually, in terms of all-around fitness, it's actually good to tackle your muscles from both sides. Yes, you can be more focused on type 2 or you can be more focused on type 1, but to be as versatile as possible, it's good to have a mixture of both of these. And if you want to do bodybuilding and get as bulky as possible, just doing heavy weights isn't going to do it. And then just doing lighter weights and a lot of reps isn't going to do it. Doing a mixture of both is actually going to get you the most hypertrophy and development of both muscle fiber types. So hopefully that helps, and next time you hit your workout or look at your program, think about where you're biased towards and if you're getting equal development of both muscle fiber types. See you guys tomorrow.